I mean, I say for my girls, they can last a whole school year because they don't grow very fast. They're not very big. So, but I would expect to get a couple of terms out of them, at least, I think. But if I know it's probably different with boys, but yeah, a couple of terms would be pretty good.
7 months of constant wear, I think is pretty good value. You find some of them have got really sort of flimsy soles. They look really delicate, and actually, they don't last half as long. I quite like the ones that have the bigger rubberized soles where there's room for them to rub down, and with sort of Velcro straps or such, because they're still little. They do lots of running around and that. We don't go for Peyton because they get kicked up as quick as anything.
It's quite tricky because their feet grow quite quickly as well. So I think her last pair that she got in September, and I think they lasted her till the new year. So I think probably January, February time she needed a new pair. But I can't remember whether that was just because they were too small or whether they were like really ready.
Expect them to last at least 12 weeks. Yeah. Ideally double that if the feet haven't grown. Yeah. But probably 2 pairs a year. If it flexes, I would look at how the front is. And so that's obviously where they scuff it and scuff it. Yeah. And also if they're Velcro ones, the stitching on the where it pulls across. Yeah. It's often that's where kids just tug and rip and the stitching comes away. Yeah. That's where I would look.
So for me, it's the sole.
Yeah, okay.
Because that's invariably what wears out every time. Even so, my daughter had, previous to the pair she's got now, she had a pair of brogues, and they were absolutely awful. The sole was just so poor, it wore out really, really quickly. So I'm quite conscientious now of the sole, because that's the first thing that goes, hole in the bottom of the foot. In my experience, every single time when you buy the cheap ones, you end up spending more money because they literally don't last very long. So you end up buying 3 pairs, whereas you could have bought 1 pair. So yeah, I mean, what I'm trying to say is I would definitely buy a more expensive pair. Yeah. The only time I wouldn't was say they've got 4 weeks after school and the shoe's worn out.
I'm quite lucky my kids don't have massive feet, so they don't grow very fast. So we tend to. My oldest has only had 1 pair of school shoes this year and they still fit, but my little one's still growing a bit faster. But yeah, I expect them to cost more and I'm okay with that.
It doesn't really, to be honest. I just think that they wear school shoes so often that I just want to get them a shoe that fits, so I don't really tend to think about how much they cost.
I think there's a gap in the middle, if that makes sense. There's the fervent people that say you've got to get your kids' feet measured, blah 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 blah, and then there's the people that can't afford £46 or £42 for a pair of shoes, so they go to Tesco's or wherever and get leather shoes, or Marks and Spencer's and get leather shoes. But there's nothing in the middle. Does that make sense? About just making sure that that the leather's supple or whatever, and that it fits properly. And I think that's a big gap, if that makes sense. So I think there's people that will just go and get whatever they can get. There's people in the middle that feel guilty that they can't afford to get new shoes. And then there's people that will just make sacrifices to get new shoes.
I think with school shoes it isn't as much of an issue. I think I don't mind spending a bit extra because I want them to be good quality and last. So yeah, I don't think that really comes into it for school shoes. For other shoes I tend to think, okay, what's that price a bit more, but for school shoes I'd rather invest in something I know is going to be good.
My son doesn't really care, I don't think. He, last year he was interested in ones that had the toy inside them. When the children were younger, they were always after the lights. And then, I think, again with the girls' shoes, I can't think what she looks for. Lights, probably.
Yeah, they do the I want this one, but then I moderate it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, school shoes are supposed to be durable rather than fashionable. Yeah. And luckily the girls are still young enough that they have to take what I say. Yeah. So we'd probably come to a compromise. I won't put them in something that they absolutely hate.
Yeah. I think if we tend to narrow it down to 2 styles, and then she will get the decision over which one in the end, I think.
Okay, so it's a bit of a compromise.
Yeah, we compromised, and then she's the one who's got to wear them, so I want her to like them.
My older one especially, she's nearly 14, and she won't wear it if she doesn't like it. But even my 9-year-old, she'll like to have. Well, she has to like them, or she'd wear them, but she'd hate them. So
Right.
Ultimately, they're still kids, they're 8 and 9, so I'm the mum when I make that decision.
Becoming increasingly more important. So Lara's 5 and a bit now. She's beginning to want to make her own decisions and beginning to want to look like her friends at school. So I don't think I would let that totally make my decision yet. But practicality in terms of a style which doesn't get in the way at school and which is easy for her to put on and off herself, that definitely comes into our decision. The difficult thing about buying online is you have to be really confident of the size beforehand, and not just the size of your child's shoes, but the size that you can expect that particular brand to be.
with school shoes, we've always done it in the shop because they're so narrow, because their ankles and everything, and their instep. So my older one is now 13, and she does buy the occasional shoes online. Sort of as not one she'd wear a lot. But even then, we have to be really careful. So no, we tend to avoid it.
I've bought shoes online and it's been a disaster, to be honest, but then that's only from me having had them measured in the store and then buying from that measurement.
Yeah.
But no, never really considered it, to be honest. It's always been a thing we do. We go to a shop to get the kids measured ready for school shoes.